amount of times I've gone to do an errand, and even in Milan, which is like a big international city and things move a little bit faster here, there's like a post-it note on the door being like, be back soon. Like,
when is soon?
When
are you coming back? I'm Italian. I have a manual car, also in America. Okay. I get in the seat. I wait for the driving instructor to arrive. I remember she comes in and she sees me moving my hand to change gears. And she's like, well, what are you doing there? I was like, I'm changing gears. I was like, what do you mean? Yeah, this is a manual. I was like, it's okay. Where are you from? Europe. Okay, you passed. It's like she didn't even get me driving.
Oh my gosh,
she's like, what do you mean you passed?
Funny.
Because I remember my first driving test in Italy, I was sweating. I was all, oh my God. Cost of living in Italy is pretty cheap. I mean, the average Italian lives with $1,500 a month. Okay, net.
This is Italian for Sure, the podcast about Italian culture. I'm your host, Catrin Skaperdas, an American living in Italy, and I interview Italians who passionately share their wisdom, stories, and insights about Italian culture. Welcome to Italian for Sure, Amedeo.
We made it. It's been a year.
It's been a year
back and forth.
But we're finally sitting down in my studio, or my corner that I've made into a studio in Milan. Thank you so much for coming.
Grazie a te.
And you're visiting Italy, even though you're Italian. So I think this is a good way to kick it off. Can you start by introducing yourself, including where you're from in Italy and then where you currently live now?
I was born in Pavia, which is an hour away from Milan. Very dull city. It's a cute city, but not a place I would ever live. My parents are from Abruzzo, Puglia, and Sicily. Yet I'm blonde with blue eyes, which is very unreal. And I now live in the States, so we're literally opposites. She moved to Italy and I live in Washington, D.C. And I still kind of live here. I go back and forth once every month. I work with social media a lot, and because I'm pretty big in Italy with social media, they keep on calling me here.
But
like, I still don't want to live here.
Me. No. You like coming back and forth?
I like to come here as a tourist.
Yeah.
I like to feel like Americans feel when they come here as a tourist. I would not live right now. Maybe in the future.
That's very funny.
Maybe
It's what I say about New York City as well. I think it's an amazing place to be as a tourist. A tourist with money.
2 days.
2 days max.
Maximum.
Yeah.
I didn't live so much here. I lived here for a few years. I lived the most important years of my life, which is high school and college in Rome. But I also lived abroad. So am I truly Italian? Yes, from principles. But I also have a little bit of German, where I lived 5 years when I was young. A little bit of China. I lived in Hong Kong, a little bit of Australia. And I feel very American. I feel very American. Like, you might see me criticize a lot on social media, but I feel very American from many perspectives.
Well, and I think that's really interesting to bring up your background in living in different countries, because it paints the picture of why you have a great perspective on cultural differences, because it's not even new to you. It's something you've experienced many times. Now you're experiencing it maybe US to Italy, but before it was, I don't know, Germany to Italy or Hong Kong to Italy, you know?
It is a nice thing. It is also a bad thing because you never know who you are. You're a little bit of everything. Nothing is home and everything is home. But yeah.
What do they say? Citizen of the world?
Cosmopolitan.
Okay.
I'm a cosmopolitan.
Okay.
Literally a cosmopolitan. It's a beautiful position to be in. And as per now, home for me is still the United States.
Yeah.
Even though I like to come back often, because Italy still reminds me that I'm a human being.
What do you mean by that?
So when you're young, I came there when I was 21 years old. It's a lot of work, a lot of opportunity. It's easy to meet people. It's easy to find people that want to work with you. But it's all work related, everything, even friendships. I was able to find good friendships, but a lot of my friendships in America were mostly transactional. While here, even if I have business relationships, they start out as a friendship. Like, do I like you? Yes. Okay, then I can work with you. In America, it's more, can I work with you? Yes. Maybe I can like you.
Okay.
It's two separate things that I noticed. And there's nothing bad with it. I mean, it's so much, it's a good thing because everything is so much faster. You don't have to first figure out the friendship barrier. So it has pros and cons. But yeah, I come back here, I feel human again, and then I'm ready to go back to America and just grind.
I understand.
Yes.
Don't they say that the US is where you make money, Italy is where you retire? Like that would be the best case scenario.
I made a video a couple of days ago about it.
Maybe that's where I heard it from, but I think I've heard it before.
Said the most stupid thing an American can do is retire in Florida. You know, everybody like New York people go to Florida. It's like, why? Okay, it's still expensive. It's still the same vibe. Take a flight, go to some unpopulated area in Italy, get 20 friends and repopulate it together. That's what I say.
Mom and Dad, he didn't mean it. And don't worry, he wasn't talking about you.
That's what they did?
They have a place in Florida and they go back and forth. But no, they haven't retired in
Florida. Come to Italy. Okay, do not listen to her, please.
I know, come to Italy. I tell them to come to Italy all the time.
So much beauty. I don't know.
No, it's absolutely true. I mean, for me, I'm speaking as an American who chooses to live here, and I'm not retired, unfortunately. Any sponsors out there want to retire me? That'd be really nice. But but you know, I love living here so much. Despite, you know, some of the cons, right? There's pros and there's cons, and I think we're going to talk about some of those today. Yeah. I want to talk about things like, you know, cost of living differences and even getting into some things like taxes or Social Security, just so people understand if they're considering living in Italy, maybe some of those pros and cons, what that experience was like for you. And then fun stuff too. Like I want to hear, you talked about business relationships. I want to hear about dating relationships. And maybe this, you mentioned you have like a new project you're doing about breaking up and can you remain friends with your ex? And I have
there's so much stuff.
So much to talk about there as well.
So living in Italy, let's start with you.
Okay.
You went to the least Italian place you could go. Milano. Okay. Whenever I make videos about living in Italy, I think Milan is always the outlier of everything. The cost of living here is, I'm not saying New York, but it's still pretty high. Okay. It's still very high. So if you want to move to Italy, it is probably the most international place to be. So you're very likely to find people, very international people you can speak in English with. It's very international. If you go to Sicily, the likelihood of you finding somebody who speaks English is next to zero.
I'm going to interrupt to tell you a little side story. That is absolutely true. And only because you mentioned Pavia before. I recently met someone, an American, who moved to Pavia in January. For her husband or boyfriend who is in the medical field, whatever. But she doesn't speak Italian. She's learning Italian, but she's learning it much faster than me, I have to say, because she has to. But her only friends that she's told me about are these old men because there's no young people there. So
they're all here.
They're all here. So she hangs out with this group of I vogatori, the rowers, like this group of rowers on Sunday. And I actually might go and interview them because I think it's really interesting and I want to learn all about their life of rowing in Pavia. But
an American going to Pavia is like a Roman going to Nebraska. This is like the least likely place for you to end up. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, but yeah, she's happy.
But yeah, Milano is the outlier of all of this. The cost of living in Italy is pretty cheap. I mean, the average Italian lives with $1,500 a month, okay, net. Because there's a huge difference between net and gross. When you hear people in America saying, I make 100K, I make 60K, that's pretty much what they make. When you hear people in Italy saying, I make 30K, they actually make 15. Because the taxes here, and I think your partner knows, are crazy. Unless you're somebody coming from the outside. There are a lot of tax incentives for foreigners coming here, and most of them for Italians coming back. If I would come back now in America, I will pay less than what I'm paying in Italy, in America.
Okay, well, a little tip to my American or maybe just foreign listeners, you can get it too.
Yeah.
A lot of Italians, I think, don't know this. I actually get the benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was living in the States. And
well, for me, it has nothing to do with him. It's just that the actual law doesn't say you have to be an Italian coming back. It just says that you have to have lived in like outside of Italy for the 2 years prior to when you moved to Italy.
So this is how Italy is, okay? Italy puts out a law and doesn't specify things. So in the end, the law is better for foreigners than for Italians.
No, but you can interpret it.
That is amazing. You can interpret it. That is so Italian to say.
I know what to do.
Che brutto. But yeah, that's so.
Okay, so I derailed you. Cost of living. So that was $1,500 net for Italians.
Yes, especially if you go more to the south. My headquarters, whenever I come back to Italy, is Abruzzo, which is the most underrated and beautiful region of Italy, in my opinion. I think it's like Tuscany without tourists. So it's rugged. Like if you as an American want a proper Italian experience that reminds you of Tuscany, but is not as crowded, I think Abruzzo is the place to be.
I would be careful because you don't want it to turn into a Tuscany.
Oh, no, I want to do it.
Yeah.
Already talking to local influencers. I want to create proper trips, a whole system, because Abruzzo is one of those regions that needs people to move in. And it's one thing I'm working on. Literally creating this bridge, because I post both in English and Italian. I mean, you found both of the accounts. I really want to create this bridge.
Ciao everyone, it's your host Catrin Skaperdas. I have an important question for you. Do you want to come to Italy? Maybe you've never been before because you were overwhelmed by the thought of planning it. Or maybe you have been before, but you want to now go beyond the tourist hotspots. This is your chance to travel with an Italian. Somebody who speaks English but speaks the local language and knows the unwritten rules of Italy. Someone who can guide you through Italy in an authentic way, leaving you to come home with a true in-person taste of Italian culture. I want to help you all achieve your dreams of seeing Italy beyond the stereotypes, and that's why I've partnered with We Road to highlight a trip designed specifically for the curious traveler. It's all about seeing the Italy that I talk about on this show, the real one. And we're taking an intimate group, so it's only 15 spots available on a journey through the hills of Tuscany to the streets of Naples. If you want to experience Italy in the right way, head to the link in the episode description and find out more. Now, back to the show. And you mentioned, I think, in some of the videos I've seen that in Abruzzo, you can go skiing and then swimming in the sea in the same day.
Yeah.
The food is good and cheap.
The food is good. It's all homegrown. I mean, I brought a couple of friends the other day, and for an entire week, all the food we ate was not bought. Abruzzo is one of those regions still has I always talk about it, the community way of living. So you have a town. In this case, the town we live in is like 1,000 people. Everybody does something and everybody exchanges. We still have a lot of barter. Okay, so the chicken are from one family, the oranges are from the other one. And it was funny, like we never went through supermarket to buy stuff. Everything was from somebody else, and we were bringing our stuff to other people. We have 50 chicken there, getting goats. It's a different lifestyle. I mean, especially compared to Milano. I like that, especially because I live in Washington, D.C., so I still have the city life, and then I go back into this and...
You have both, best of both.
So yeah, life is simple here, which is a culture shock if you as an American move here for the first time.
Yeah, so many culture shocks, all the culture shocks. And even actually the reverse culture shocks. When I go back to the US and some things I forgot, then I experience them again in the US. Okay, but we talked about Italian, you said net 1,500, the cost of living. So America's average cost of living, what is it?
Okay, America. This is my big privilege of being an Italian. We're pretty self-sufficient. Okay, so my cost of living is not the cost of living of the average American. My cost of living as a person that rather buys the raw material and cooks at home, as a person that is very self-dependent in everything. I am a very DIY.
Well, the cooking
person.
At home part is definitely the Italian in you. That's the Italian in you.
But even like the going out, like the whole pre-game situation, we rather knowing the quality of. You're in New York. You live in New York. So in New York, you have very good restaurants. Most of America, you don't. DC has pretty good restaurants, but in many cases, like we'd rather go to my cousin's house, so have 10 people, everybody brings something, we all cook together, and then we go to the bars, then we go clubbing. So our way of living is totally different. We tend to have roommates for longer or live with our parents for longer. I left my house at the age of 27. Not
Which
because I had to, but because I wanted to.
Yeah.
I was fine with it.
It came up on an interview I did with a woman, Federica Muti, in season 1, living at home until even maybe 30, depending. Yeah. And in the US, I think if you went on a date and someone was like, oh yeah, I still live with my parents, and they were 29, you'd be like, red flag, like something's wrong. And here it's super normal. And which is, as you know, for my listeners, just a disclaimer there, this is why I love learning about different cultures, because I think when you learn about a different culture, it puts things into perspective that what you think is weird or strange somewhere else could be really normal. And so it helps you understand that things don't have to be weird or strange or have a certain connotation. You can think whatever you want to think about it, because in other places of the world, that thing might be really normal.
Yeah, I mean, I remember this was 2 years ago. My ex, she was like, "Where do you live?" I live in DC. I live with my parents. And she said in a way that was like not really feeling good about it. She told me that she was living with the parents. And I was like, actually, that's pretty cool. I was like, what do you mean pretty cool? Oh, yeah, it's very normal in Italy. Like you first figure stuff out. And then once you feel ready, you leave.
You said sorry because she's American?
She's American.
Okay.
She's American. And it was very funny. It was very weird for her when she told me. So yeah, exactly what you said. It was a little shock she had. But it's very normal for us. So my cost of living was a funny thing. Slightly above, but quite similar to the Italian one.
Okay. Oh, okay. So
in a
it's
city
pretty
like
low.
Washington. And that's what allowed me to, like I always make videos about it. My biggest privilege was living like an Italian in Washington, D.C., which then allowed me to invest, buy homes. I try to buy a couple of houses every single year, but because of the way I'm living. Okay, couple that with career and everything, and it's feasible. So it depends how you live. On the other hand, if you delegate everything to a third party because you as a human are taught about it, or
like you mean ordering your groceries?
Uber Eats all the time, Uber because you're not driving. I was crazy for me. A lot of people in the city are not driving. They don't drive. They just Uber or whatever. Then there's me with a little Vespa.
You do? You have a Vespa in New York?
Of course, I'm in Italian Washington, D.C. Come on. I need a Vespa.
What color is it?
White.
Ah, nice.
White.
When I get one day, it'll be yellow.
Easy to see at least.
Easy
To see at least.
Well, I don't have a driver's license here, so it'll be a long time coming.
You will find out that it's one of the hardest things to get here.
Oh, I know. That's why I can't get it, because they don't offer it in English, the written test.
That was a culture shock for me. And it scares me because if it is so easy to get a driver's license in America, I do not want to know the average driving skills. Just to explain to you the story of how, like when I realized this, I went to do the driver's test. I'm Italian. I have a manual car, also in America. Okay. I get in the seat. I wait for the driving instructor to arrive. It was a younger instructor. So they haven't seen a lot of manuals. I remember she comes in and she sees me moving my hand to change gears. And she's like, "Oh, what are you doing there?" I was like, "I'm changing gears." I was like, "What do you mean?" "Yeah, this is a manual." I was like, "It's okay. Where are you from?" "Europe." "Okay, you passed." She didn't even give me driving.
Oh my gosh,
she's like, "What do you mean you passed?"
Funny.
Because I remember my first driving test in Italy, I was sweating. I was all, oh my God.
Yeah, it takes like a year to get it. And the written test, apparently they try to trick you. It's really hard.
A year, and the whole cost is like 1,500 euros.
Yeah, it's so expensive. I heard that as well.
Like $50 exams. Like, okay, two. So that was a big culture shock. But yeah, what was I saying? We're talking Vespa
Cost of living. People don't drive.
So if you delegate, life is expensive.
Yeah.
Life is very expensive. And I was literally living like a community. I still live in a community. My friends are still helping out, even taking care of dogs. Somebody goes out, leave the dog to me for a week, or taking care of the house. Can you just house sit for a week, stay at my place? Yes.
Nice.
So we still live like that. So my reality is very different from the average mentality.
Now, on average, do you think it's easier to save money in the US or save money in Italy?
In the US.
Even though things cost more, because you're saying the difference of how much you make is in proportion to how much things cost?
So in Italy, you make 1,500 a month, your life will cost you 1,400. Okay, we're still able to save. In America, you will make on average 60K a year. Okay, let's say 4.5, 5K a month. If you're careful with what you spend, you can save 1,500 a month.
Okay.
You can. Okay, it depends on your life choices, what you do, how you handle your time, how you handle your going out. Here's another thing. Another big culture shock. Drinking to enjoy and drinking to get thrashed.
Yep. Yeah, that hasn't come up on the show before, but that's definitely something I noticed.
I went to college in Italy and I went to college in America too. And I went to a couple of the parties at my sister's college in America. I've seen more ambulances in one night in America than throughout 3 years of my college life in Italy. Okay. But then again, we are being taught to drink since we're little. I remember my grandpa putting a little finger of wine in when I was 4 years old.
Yeah.
Exactly. So again, I'm not saying bad, wrong, just saying differences.
No, that one's hard though, because I gave the argument when I was in high school, I think, that the drinking age should go back to 18 in the US. And I think that
14.
Like, sure, 12,
14.
8, out of the womb.
I was yes.
No,
go on.
I think, my teachers probably thought like, oh, she just wants to get drunk faster. And it wasn't. It was because I grew up in a Greek American household.
Okay.
And my parents also, gave me a glass of wine on holidays, a little one from, I think, 14. And I was one of the rarer people that did learn to drink, to enjoy or drink within moderation. And I didn't crave it. So when I went to college, I definitely had the friends who ended up in the hospital. I had the friends who hurt themselves because they were so drunk. People would say to me, I've never seen you drunk. And I'm like, if I'm drunk, it's by accident. I'm not setting out to get drunk.
It's not my purpose.
Listen, I've taken my, lots of shots and I've done the things,
100%.
but like
100%.
But I think you're right. I think that there's something to be said about when you don't make it so inaccessible. I think that making it 21 in America, it makes it too inaccessible for too long, that then kids go crazy for it. And so then that just becomes this part of the culture to drink a lot.
I feel that in America, between your high school years and then when you start working, you have these 3-4 years and people try to compress as much shit happening in those 4 years and they go crazy. Well, in Italy, we start having that fun life, let's call it fun life, since young. I mean...
more freedom, maybe. Like my 14-year-old nephew goes out of the house by himself.
14.
Oh, wow. Okay, not clubs. He's like just meeting up with his friends for lunch. But like, for example...
Yeah, since you're a kid, but...
But if I was 14 in the US, and I didn't grow up in New York City, so let's just say I think that's also a difference. I didn't grow up in a city. I grew up in a more countryside. But if I was 14 and wanted to see my friend, I'd have to say, hey, Mom, can you drive me to my friend's house? And it would be this organized session of me with my friend and the parent in the next room, where like kids here because a lot of Italian cities, but even towns, you just walk outside and you go and meet your friend. Like there's not a parent around watching you. You have that freedom a little bit earlier. Again, I think it's that inaccessibility. Like when you go to college, you're free for the first time. Your parents aren't around for the first time. You can do anything you want for the first time.
Here
like
you're free.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, there are some things that you have to respect. My perfect example, I was 14. My sister was 13. My mother didn't allow her to go out alone, so she could go out with me. I was managing clubs and doing events. In Italy, we have first the pomeridiani, which is the afternoon clubs when you're 14.
Oh,
then
fun.
by the time you're 16, it's the nightclubs.
Wait, but I would like the 14-year-old club because I don't like to stay out past like if I'm out
think we
past
should
midnight, I turn
reintroduce
into
it.
a pumpkin.
100%. 100%. I cannot stay anymore past 3 a.m. I cannot do it anymore. Just do it in the afternoon. I like afternoon clubs.
Yeah.
It's funny. I like afters. The clubs after the club.
Oh,
Afters.
I mean, I did know those back in the day.
So
Now, no.
I'd rather do an after, which I did, than go to clubs. It's funny. I'm the guy
Because
that shows
it starts
up.
in the morning?
Yeah, I show up with a matcha latte. I did it in the past just because it's easier for me. I'm that guy.
You have hacked going out. I've never thought about this before. Those clubs that start at 6 a.m., I'll just
Afters
go
is the new club.
at 6 a.m.
After's the new club.
I wake up at 6:30 every day. Amedeo, we're going out.
That's it.
We're going out.
Afters is my shit.
6 a.m.
It's very funny. But yeah, was managing these afternoon clubs. My sister could not go out. I would take her with me. She was 13 and she would help me sell tickets. You would see this little kid and that's how we grew up.
Amazing.
And I always say on my videos, by the time we were 18, we had more night socializing life than the average 30-year-old American.
Yeah, maybe not 30, but like
25.
Yeah.
I mean, if you include also college, yes.
Yeah.
But because we go out every day, it's not just the weekends. It's very normal to meet up. We have the aperitivos. We have everything. It's very normal to go out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I mean, I did notice that here as well. Like, I've never been out in Milan, out. I've been just to aperitivos and to dinners, and that's my out. But yes. I mean, I am 33, so it could also be the fact that I moved here when I turned 30. So an age thing, maybe, as well, a little bit.
Definitely more mature. Definitely more mature when you moved here. Well, it's a good time to come here. It's more relaxed. You don't have all that grind and stuff. But yeah, we start very early, and I like that because you feel less the fear of missing out because it's more extended. You can do you're not missing out. You can do one time tomorrow if you're not going out. It's not a problem. You're not missing out on anything.
FOMO.
And
you know FOMO,
enjoyable.
right?
Yes.
Okay. So wait, this is a perfect segue. So there's FOMO, there's Sunday scaries, and then there's Happy Monday. And I saw a video on your social media that said the Happy Monday doesn't exist in Italy. Talk to me about that.
Because everything is closed.
Well,
that's one thing I miss of America.
Like when you're in Italy, you miss that things are open in America.
That's one thing I miss of America. Okay, people here. Okay, yes, you have to enjoy life and everything. But I remember I was.
Vita.
Ma vaffanculo la dolce vita. Sorry, I don't know if I can cuss.
Sure, it's my podcast.
So I was in Abruzzo. Keep in mind. So I can say this because I was born in North. I am from the South. I can say this. The South doesn't want to work. Okay, we always say that the North is maintaining the rest of Italy.
I've heard that.
So this was in Lanciano, Abruzzo, and I was with my friend. It's like, let's go get a coffee in the morning to have breakfast. Out of 20 bars, how many were open?
At what time?
It was 8:30 a.m.
Okay.
It's a bar. Okay, you're selling coffee.
Yeah. Oh, but actually, we should explain this to our listeners who might not know that a bar in Italy is a cafe.
Coffee shop.
It's a coffee shop.
Okay. Yeah, we call them bars.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay, 20 coffee shops. How many were open?
I mean, just because you're asking the question, I'm going to guess like 2.
One.
I didn't even hit it on the 2.
One. So,
yeah.
I'm like, the way that Italians do business to me is very interesting, but don't touch my free time. Don't touch my. That's the approach. And on one side, I hate it. On the other, I'm like, damn, that's kind of cool. Though.
I love it.
The fact that they do not give a fuck. I love it.
The amount of times I've gone to do an errand, and even in Milan, which is like a big international city and things move a little bit faster here, there's a Post-it note on the door being like, be back soon. Like,
when is soon?
When
are you coming back? The best is August, and
everything closes.
I worked 2 years for Lamborghini, okay, the corporate offices in America. This was clientele. Of course, in summer, clients want to enjoy themselves. They want to buy stuff. People will call us, I want to buy a Lamborghini. You call Sant'Agata Bolognese, the factory in Italy. Hi, I need 10 cars. Yeah, we're not working.
They're like, but we're going to give you a lot of money.
We're on vacation. In vacation from what?
Yeah, that's very Italian, which I
do
like
it. I still like it.
I do.
Like, you hate it in the moment, but then you're like, damn, that's kind of cool.
I appreciate it. Yeah. No, I see this also in Liguria, and I have people in my life that had lived in the US and now are Italian, but came back. So you, but just like 10 years from now when you come back, I'm putting it into the universe. So people who come back and they know the US culture, especially the more New York culture, and then they see, their favorite focacceria in Liguria closed for the majority of August, and they're like, this is the busiest time of year. Why are they closed? But I'm like, it's Italy. It's great. I mean, I wish that they were open because their focaccia is really good, but respect. I hope that they're on the beach tanning.
And chilling. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's the other thing. Yeah, you're working in the most important time of the year. There is a reason why it's the most important time of the year. It's a good time to go out and just tan.
To live life. So we talked about businesses being closed in August or random times throughout the day without having a schedule. Let's talk about cost of labor. So how much it is actually for a company to employ somebody in Italy versus an American company, say, employing someone in America.
Don't get me angry, please.
No, let's stay calm.
So what I said at the beginning today is, I kind of introduced it already before. When you see an Italian telling you they make 30 grand, they actually make 15. When you see an American telling you they make 50 grand, they might make 45. The number gets even worse, the difference, when you consider cost of labor. Cost of labor is what the company pays. Just to make you understand how much taxes we actually pay. Because in Italy, we have taxes, we have contributions, social security, which is not like the American one. It's way worse. Free healthcare, which is not free, and all of that. So if I'm paying a person 30 grand net, $2,500 a month net, the actual cost of that salary for a person is 88,000.
In Italy.
We're the most inefficient country in terms of cost of labor. So an Italian will make net half as much than the average American, but the cost of that employee to the employer is almost twice the average American income. That's how inefficient the whole thing is.
Why do you think that is? What is all that going to? Just taxes?
It's taxes. It's a social security system, which it got worse and worse. It was mismanaged, and we get to a position where Gen Z is paying the pension of the grandparents. Okay, and it's getting worse where the kids of Gen Z will be paying my grandparents' pension. So that's one thing. The healthcare system, which I'm working on a solution on the private side right now in Italy, needs a lot of money. It's mismanaged, and they keep on asking for more and more and more. And so many taxes here and there. I mean, if it wasn't for value-added tax on gasoline, the average price of gasoline would be $3 a gallon, but because of that, it's $9. You see that? I mean, you live here. Yeah. Gasoline is expensive.
We have an electric car now, so actually I haven't paid attention to the gas prices.
Then it makes sense. But and the thing is, on top of that, then we have value-added tax, which is 20%. They tax you everywhere. Now, do you get a lot of benefits? Yes, I say Italy. If you want to float in life, like if you're a low-income person, Italy is amazing. If you're a business person, Italy sucks. Italy sucks. And you have to be really good with the whole system.
It's hard to start a business here, right? That I've heard that before.
It's so hard. Like when I tell to, I can give you the perfect example. In America, you have a social security number, right? With your social security number, you can either be employed or you can be self-employed. You don't need to do absolutely nothing. You
just make money and you pay taxes.
Yes, actually, you make money, you deduct everything you spend, and then you pay taxes.
Right.
Which in Italy, it seems pretty normal because you guys have common sense, okay? Italians don't.
But you can deduct things here.
No.
If you have a partita IVA?
Yes. There's a lot of limits. A lot of limits.
And let's explain what a partita IVA is, which I think is what you were getting to
about
the difference.
And this makes me so angry because I think that in order to incentivize people to do stuff, you have to make it simple. In Italy, we have a social security, which is called Codice Fiscale, which we use for our pension system, our healthcare system, and everything. The problem is that if you want to be self-employed, you need to open a specific other social security number, which is called Partita IVA, which has... it's complicated to do. It has a yearly cost. Like in order to have it, you have to pay every single year. It's not like your social security. It's yours. You can do whatever hell you want. So there's the bureaucracy, there's costs. You cannot deduct everything like you do in America. And
you can't do it yourself. It's super confusing. No, you need an accountant, which here it's a commercialista. Like you need an accountant here.
It's like I have Italian business people that come to me saying, Amedeo, I want to open the American headquarters for my company. Can you help me out? And I was like, yeah. What you want to do? I want to do this. I go on one website. I put in the data. 30 minutes, we open a company. It's like, what do you mean we open a company? Yeah, we just open a company. Like, what? Yeah, that's America. It's like, yeah, I think I'm going to close everything here and just come over there. Fuck this. That's literally what they tell me. So it's so easy. I like it. It's so efficient. So there's some things that now I think in American terms that whenever I come back, it makes me angry. It just makes me angry. But then it's Italy. You got to accept it.
Yeah.
Italy plays with your nerves and you got to learn to... Why is everybody so chill here? Because they learn to navigate this.
Except when they're driving. Nobody is chill when they're driving.
Yeah, because it's the only moment they have all of that repressed rage that they faked being chill about, and they're getting it out.
That comes out.
Yes, exactly. Mamma mia. That and the 50 coffees they drank, and so they're all jittery.
A little shaky.
That's the main thing. That's the main thing.
Okay, and you talked about healthcare, and I also want to ask you about this. And how's your grandma, by the way?
She's good. Okay. She's good.
Good.
Free healthcare. Had to wait there 5 hours for a 5-minute operation.
But she's okay.
She's okay.
Okay, good. Let's take a quick break to talk about Italian culture. We spend a lot of time talking about Italian culture on this podcast, but I'm gonna be honest with you, nothing beats actually being here, being in Italy, surrounded by the culture, talking to the people. That's why I'm so excited about the Italian for Sure trip with We Road. This trip is perfect for solo travelers who want a ready-made community, and also for friends and couples who want to meet new people. We Road brings together small groups of people with similar interests, like you guys with Italian culture, to explore together, and often the people within these groups end up becoming friends for life, planning other trips together in the future. This specific route in Italy is a dream. You start in Florence, you head through Rome, you end in Naples, and you have a little bit of Cinque Terre and Amalfi Coast mixed in. The best part, they handle all the logistics, the train tickets, the hotels, even the big tours like the Colosseum, so you can just show up and soak it all in. It's the ultimate way to live out the stories that we talk about here on this podcast. You can find out all the details, like the trip dates in September, through the link in the episode description. And be sure to listen to the very end to find out how you can receive 10% off of your booking. Now, back to the show. So that was here in Italy, so you had to wait a long time, but you didn't have to pay for it.
No.
Okay. And that's kind of the differences, the pros and cons, right? So private healthcare in the US is how everything is run, where here you can have private insurance as well, or just pay private out of pocket, or you can go through the public system, which usually you have to wait a long time. But if you can manage to wait, then it's free.
I think the Italian healthcare system is better, but not the public, the private one. So let me explain. So we still have private healthcare, and it's very fast, it's very efficient. But compared to the American one, it's very cheap.
It's true.
Why is it cheap?
Yeah.
Why is it cheap?
It's worth going private outside of the public.
Why is it cheap? Because it competes with public. So I can get my surgery for free. I just have to wait 1.5 months. Or I can go private, pay for it, and get it done tomorrow. Private knows that they're competing with public. So the only way to incentivize people to go private is to have a price that makes sense. Okay, so the fact that we have public healthcare helps out the private to be very good because you get an American-style service in terms of efficiency, speed, and everything, but with Italian pricing.
I think it's faster here, actually, the private care. When I'm in the US, my mom will tell me that even because everything's private there, right? And she's like, I'm trying to get into my doctor's appointment and it's 3 weeks and it's private.
Because you do it through insurance. If you go cash, it's tomorrow.
True, but honestly, I don't even know anyone who knows how to do that. Like, we don't have that concept.
You don't have the concept because you take for granted the fact that you need health insurance. And here's what's fucked up about America. I'm studying a lot of the American healthcare system because I'm working on a thing. Probably gonna get killed, but it's okay.
Okay, please knock on wood.
Yeah. I make fun of it.
You guys touch iron or something, right? You did something different.
We actually touch.
Oh, okay. Well, we're not going to do that. We're just going to knock on wood.
We actually scratch. That's to say, I'm not kidding. Why is everything in Italy sexual? I don't know.
This makes much more sense if you're watching this on YouTube or Spotify, by the way.
I'm not joking. It's my culture. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Coming back. Healthcare, private in America takes longer, but you said paying cash will get in right away.
So if you, I checked a couple of things. So for example, if you give birth with health insurance, the total cost between what you pay and what the insurance pays is like 40 grand. If you go with a C-section, okay.
Wait, so in the US, the cost of it is 40 grand. Yes. What is it to the person?
To the person can be between out-of-pocket maximum, the deductibles and everything, 10, 15, from 5 to 15, depending on the insurance you have.
Okay. And that's a C-section, you said?
With C-section, including hospital and everything. If you go cash, I've seen many examples where it's less than 10 grand. So you're going to pay less out-of-pocket than with insurance, and the total cost is still less because hospitals discount a lot if you're an out-of-pocket patient.
You're honestly...
I just opened a new world.
I'm American and you've opened a new world. I know that in Italy, the mindset of just like paying for things like with cash and just kind of doing things that way is kind of normal.
Yeah.
But in America, I just would have never thought of it.
You're better off having a super basic health insurance and then have what you call an HSA account, which you just putting money tax-free, tax deductible, and then you just use that money, which is what I do. I have a super simple health insurance in America, and then I have a super cool international health insurance that I use whenever I go back to Italy. Like I get diagnosis in America. If I need to do something serious, I just take a plane, go back and get cured here.
Yeah. And the care here is really good.
Yeah.
Especially, I can speak for Milan. It's really, really good. And I think that's also, I can speak for, well, I shouldn't speak for Americans, but from some of the Americans I've spoken to, there's this misconception that the care here must be less good than the care in the US. And at least in Milan, I can say that is absolutely not true. And after having gone through some medical issues with my family members recently in the US, and the shit that the doctors messed up, losing cultures, and my family staying in the hospital for longer than they needed to, et cetera, et cetera. And then here, either whether it's in Milan, experiencing, a child who needed NICU care and seeing how good that was, or even another family member wasn't here, was actually in Paris, having the same exact procedure that the person in the US was having. And it was done really well in Paris, and they were out of the hospital in 2 weeks, and they were recovered, and they were fine. I
mean, my dad, same thing. He had a herniated disc.
I'm sorry.
He could have done it in America because he had it there. He went back to Italy. He was out after 1 day. And the health insurance covered everything, while the American health insurance would have forced them to still pay like $5,000 out of pocket. And the cost was 5 times less. It was 50 grand compared to 10 grand. And I always say I'd rather get cured in front of the Colosseum than next to the McDonald's. Sorry, I don't want to be an asshole, but...
hey, there's McDonald's here too, though.
Yeah. McDonald's in Italy is better.
This is true.
Have you tried it?
I have. Recently, I was like, I have to try it.
However, the French fries in America are better. You know that at 7 years in America, I just tried KFC for the first time like a month ago.
I don't think I've ever had it. I wasn't a fast food person. That's why I didn't have McDonald's here either. And for like 3 years later, I was like, let me just try it.
McDonald's in Italy.
It's next to my Esselunga, which is the grocery store. It's like the Stop and Shop, But I was like, okay, fine, I'll just get it.
McDonald's in Italy is gourmet, okay? No, I'm kidding. No, I could never. I hate it. I still hate it. But it's okay. It's okay.
No, the care here is really, really good. And I think especially if you have a situation, I do know people who have this situation, they get the public care for some things, and actually it works fine. Like, it's in moments where you don't need to wait a long time, it's pretty amazing. And then in the moments where they're being asked to wait a long time and they want something quicker, they go private, and some companies actually pay for their insurance. And so then it's kind of jackpot, because you just see what's faster, like the free or the private, but then your company is also giving you the insurance. So you get it, like you get the money back. I mean, that's jackpot.
There's one thing that though in America is better. All the experimental healthcare in America is way better, because America invests a lot in new cures and stuff. So if you have something that is extremely rare, America is way better.
Interesting.
In terms of treatment. There's another important thing, ethics. I like to get a double opinion and stuff, and I always make explain the story of the dentist. I have a dentist that in America that has been telling me for the past 7 years to remove my wisdom teeth. I then send the x-rays to my Italian dentist, and I said I'm fine. And I think it has to do with medical ethics. When you have a profit-based system versus a system that's still based on public, which says prevent is better than cure. So focus on therapy first, and then surgery if you really need it.
I've witnessed this as well. People take tachypiedina for everything, and they think that's medicine, which to us that's paracetamol. Sorry, like
paracetamol. No, paracetamol is.
Sí.
Yeah, paracetamol. Amoxicillin is the.
Aleve, I think.
Is the,
oh gosh, this is why I need a fact checker.
That's the other thing, because we can buy antibiotics without a prescription.
But those aren't antibiotics. That's my point.
No. The tachypnea, yes. No, but that's the other thing.
Because my husband's always like, oh, like if I'm like sniffly, he's like, oh, like you're sick, like take tachypiedina. It's like saying take Advil. I'm like,
take Advil, yes. Take Advil.
Like I'd rather either take nothing, or if I'm actually sick, I can go to a doctor, and if they think I should take something, I'll take something.
You guys are so dramatic. So dramatic.
No, I've adopted the Italian system. I love the fact that I really don't take anything, and I don't get sick often, which knock on wood. So I haven't been on antibiotics in many years, but it's the Italian way, is what can we do first to see if we can fix the problem instead of just putting a Band-Aid on it.
It's like the cure to Italian psychology.
Tell me.
Go for a walk. Oh, you're not sad? Go for a walk. And then it works. Not always, but yeah.
But wear a scarf around your neck because otherwise you'll get colpodario.
Oh my God. That's one thing I hate here. Like all these superstitious bullshit.
On the one hand, they're like, oh, you're going to be fine compared to the US where they're like, you're going to die. You're going to get cancer. Da, da, da. But then also here, they're like, oh, but if the wind touches your neck,
you're dead.
You're dead.
You're dead. Just salute goodbye to everybody and ciao.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Awful,
amazing.
Awful.
Well, there's a lot of differences we could keep talking about, and we definitely need a part 2 to this conversation because we can go for another hour, I'm sure. I want to talk to you about your project about staying in touch with your ex after you've broken up and the differences of breaking up, like American to American versus Italian to Italian, or even maybe because you said you've had American exes, so maybe Italian to American. Because I think it's different. I've talked about this before with some of my friends here, and I think there's a big difference in breaking up.
Breaking up?
Mm-hmm. Well, relationships in general, but breaking up being a piece of that.
How does a breakup work in America?
Okay, so in America, when you break up, and obviously I'm stereotyping, of course, this might not be everyone's situations, but most of the time, you absolutely cannot talk to your ex after you break up.
Why?
You have to hate them. You have to have all of your friends pick sides. They cannot speak to your ex anymore. And for years later, it would be like this weird thing that when the person's name comes up, everyone cringes and there would be no scenario.
Breaking no contact.
They break no contact. Whereas here in Italy, all of my friends who have exes are like, oh yeah, I just got coffee with my ex, or like recent breakups, they'll break up and then a week later be like, oh yeah, they came over to get their stuff and we ended up talking for a bit and then they left. Like there's this more mature breakup, I think, that I've noticed here, where if you break up, it's an understanding that it just didn't work out between the two of you. It doesn't mean that if someone cheated or something horrible, that's a different story. But when we're just talking about two people who just maybe weren't compatible, right? And they agree that they're not compatible anymore.
You guys go all no contact.
I'm stereotyping,
then people
but
come back together at one point? What happens?
No, I mean, I think it's the same thing that we do when we're young in terms of being friends with guys or being friends with girls. Being friends with the opposite sex. Okay. It's more rare in the US to have a friend of an opposite sex if you're a straight person than it is in Italy.
Yeah.
When I met...
For us, it's necessary.
It's normal. So this is something that came up when I met my husband when we were just newly dating. I have guy friends. So some people do, like I did. But sometimes your boyfriend doesn't take kindly to that. So I made sure to kind of just put it out there right away because I was like, I have really good guy friends, and he looked at me like, that's okay. He's like, I have good girlfriends too. Cool. Because he's Italian and that's super normal. And I was like, okay, awesome. This is we don't have that jealousy thing. We're good. But in the US, it's there's this mindset. And I've seen a lot of movies in Hollywood too that portray this. You cannot be friends with someone of the opposite sex. You must fall in love with them if you're friends with them. Or people will make comments like, oh, what's going on with you and blah, blah, blah. You've been hanging out a lot.
If American boys would have more friends that are girls,
girlfriends and girlfriends,
the world would be a better place. And I think dating will be better because you learn so much. So a lot of the key learnings of dating I learned to all my girlfriends.
Yeah.
By talking to them. Oh, even their breakups, what they go through, what they feel and everything. So I think it will make everything better.
I agree with you because I actually have seen a pattern of men that I know that have sisters in the US, American men. Well, you're Italian, but I mean American men who have sisters versus not, because of what you just said. I think they got to talk to somebody, someone of the opposite sex about things, and so they were maybe more, I don't know, sensitive to a woman because they had a sister or something. Whereas if you don't have, exactly to your point, those conversations with a woman, let's say, and you're trying to date a woman, then you're going through everything for the first time with your romantic partner. And so maybe you could have known more if you had a friend who was a woman or a sister.
100%. And how is it for Italians? I think you should have a little bit of distance at the beginning anyway, when you break up slightly. Just to,
get over the person.
Sometimes the heart grows a little bit fonder. People come back together. It depends on the situation, of course. But then again, this is a person that knows a lot about you. Okay, even if you don't stay friends, it's okay to talk here and there. In the case of the podcast, this is my girlfriend from 10 years ago. Okay, she's also a family friend, so there was always some kind of interaction and stuff. And we had this idea: why not start something first, talking about what happened with us and what we learned throughout this whole experience, and then do the same format of podcast with other people. So either me or she is the host. You have a couple, either a broken up couple from the past, or people that rekindled and got back together in the future, or just a couple talking about the past and just ask questions and see what people learn.
In English or in Italian?
In English. I would also do it in Italian, honestly, but I think it's fun.
But I'm curious because while you go through this experience, if it's in English, so I'm assuming you're going to be interviewing people in America, so Americans, what you find. Because if you did this experiment and interview people, like how many exes are you going to find that are like still on like good terms, but not still in love? Because not like secretly still in love, like just on regular good terms. And then want to do the interview and then do the interview and are more similar to what you're used to as an Italian. I hope that made sense. Like I'm curious what you're going to see.
I think
as
I'm going to find a little of everything. I think that if you let enough time go by, stuff will go towards the Italian breakup. Okay, like stuff is more natural, more normal, not too crazy. If it's fresh stuff, that will be probably the funniest stuff. That will be kind of scared about it, people hitting each other. I don't know.
Like the what was that show in the past, the Maury show or whatever, one of the shows, I don't know if you knew those shows where they talk about like, are you the father? And they have like the DNA test and it's like, yes, exactly.
Yes, I know what you're talking
or the
about.
Jerry Springer show. Yeah.
So that's an idea. We recorded the first one. We just did all the shorts and stuff. We're just getting it ready, gonna post it. I'm probably gonna have to post at least 5 episodes before I can figure out whether it works or not, but we'll see.
Okay, well, good luck. I'm looking forward to listening.
It was fun. We thought it would be like a 20-minute conversation, ended up being an hour, but...
It's funny how much you can say, even us. Like, it feels like we've been talking for 15 minutes, and this has definitely been a solid hour.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. So that's an idea. Again, I tend to try stuff, like 90 different things. 88 don't work. The 2 that works, I just keep on bringing them up.
Have you heard of the phrase that we say in America, like throwing the spaghetti at the wall and seeing if it sticks?
Yeah, don't do it because it means it's overcooked. So don't do it. Don't tell an Italian.
That's not a good idea.
Do not tell this to Italians.
Yeah, it's a way of saying like, like kind of what you're saying, like you do a bunch of things and then see what works, I'm
going to say something.
Say it.
There was a girl in my job a long time ago that told me that that's the way she looks at pasta.
Like for real. Like
Yes,
that's how she tests to see if it's done.
I believe that's the first time I was still very attached to my traditions. It was the first time I understood what it means to have an ick. But I accepted it because I said I can still fix this.
You are American. You just said ick.
Yes, I said ick. I said ick.
Oh my gosh, this has been amazing. Amedeo, I have one last question for you before we go.
Should learn how to make pasta well after it. So I was right. You can change everything.
You can change even how you make pasta.
Yes.
Why do you call people peasants?
Oh, that's beautiful. So, okay. I do not speak like this normally, okay? That's the first thing. It's when I speak in English, I have more of a character compared to it when I speak in Italian. When I speak in Italian, it's me. So I do real estate too. I've seen thousands of houses. I've seen the finances of tens of thousands of people, what they drive in their finances. And I notice a common pattern in America. You have a huge consumerism. And the general pattern I see is there's an insecurity about looking poor. The perfect example I can show to you is a house that I went to see. It was a $40,000 house. The tenant was a Section 8 tenant, so the government subsidies, and you had a $45,000 brand new Kia parked in front of it. I said, okay, one of the biggest insecurities in terms of consumption patterns is looking broke. How can I put out my messages by triggering people and then teaching? And then, of course, sometimes you trigger people and they just get angry. They don't dig deeper into your video. But in most of the cases, you activate them. And then they listened to the whole thing and they said, okay, he triggered me, but he said something. And the word peasant was the result of that calculation that I did. So is it a little not very politically correct? Yes. Does it work? It works wonders.
you spoke to people's emotions.
Yeah.
And it's a marketing strategy. And then, like you said, you get people to listen, and I like your videos because you do, I think, look at things from both sides, and then you give your strong opinion. But the thing is, you're not saying it's fact. It's what you believe or what you've experienced, and then some fact thrown in there, and then people can take it or leave it, but you get people to listen and see a different perspective.
Yeah, it's just my way to give you a reality slap in the face and
send you on your way.
Oh, yes. And then maybe you listen, maybe you won't.
Well, I listen. I love your videos. That's why I found you.
It comes out arrogant. I admit that.
That's okay. Well, getting to know you today has been really lovely. I like getting to know you behind just those videos and seeing you having an hour-long conversation, not just the 60-second videos I get to see you in. So thank you so much for being part of Italian for Sure today.
That's it.
Ciao.
Ciao. This is Italian for Sure.
If you made it to the end of the episode, you're a loyal listener, and that's why this is the first promo announcing the 10% off offer of the Italian for Sure trip to the first 7 people that book their spot. This trip is designed with you in mind. You'll have a dedicated Italian travel coordinator to lead the way, ensuring you get that authentic experience without the headache of planning it all yourself. Turn this podcast into a reality and come see Italy for yourself. Click the link in the episode description for more information, and feel free to DM me on Instagram at Italian for Sure if you have any questions. See you in Italy. Thanks for listening to this episode of Italian for Sure. If you liked what you heard, make sure to hit the follow button wherever you listen to podcasts, and hit the subscribe button on YouTube. If you want to connect, find me on Instagram and TikTok at Italian for Sure, and let me know what you found most interesting. Until next time.